This is the Bolder Than Most podcast, where we talk with those making bold moves in business, real estate, and life. I'm your host, Trae Jacobs. Thank you for being here. Let's jump right in. All right. Welcome back to the Bolder Than Most podcast. I'm your host, Trae Jacobs, and today I have my BFF, that means best friends forever, Nancy Reyna. What's up, Nancy? How you doing?
Great, Trae. How about yourself? I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy that you jumped on with me. We actually just got back from Peak Partnership, which is a real estate conference. I'm curious though, what was your biggest takeaway from that conference?
Oh my God, my biggest takeaway
Yeah, let's hear
was
it.
getting a hug and a kiss from Jamie Kern-Lima.
Oh, snap. I love Jamie Kern-Lima.
I love her too. She's my BFF. You're my
I do love.
BFF, but she's my BFF too. She doesn't know
Oh,
it
yeah.
yet, but
It's in progress.
it
Loading.
was amazing. That was like my highlight for
What
sure.
about Jamie attracts you to her? Like, why Jamie?
We saw her at UPW right back in November.
Wait, you were there?
I
No, I'm just
was
kidding.
there. Oh my God. Here we go again. I know for the longest time you did not remember me there, but
Okay,
I was
I'm sorry.
there. I was there. And just her story was so impactful. Like she gave me like a breath of life, because I mean we're in this together, right? This multifamily real estate journey or real estate journey just, right? And it's a tough journey. And there is a lot of no's and a lot of challenges and a lot of difficulties and a lot of struggles and a lot, it's just a lot of negativity, I guess, right? And it's a challenging, it's not an easy path, right? Like they say, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
So getting all those no's and all those rejections and seeing how slow it is, this path was very um, what's the word? I'm sorry. It was
It's
very,
inspiring. It's inspiring, right? Like, if you guys aren't familiar with her story, she started a makeup brand and just got no after no after no after no until she got a yes. And when she got that yes, she just blew up. Like, wow, it was just incredible. And then she sold her company for $1 billion, over $1 billion, right? So
cash. She
cash
sold
money,
it cash.
cha-ching.
Yes. So that's
Yeah.
very inspiring, right? Just the resilience that she had, right? And not giving up and continuing. And it was her dream. And she knew, that she was here for something better, something much bigger than her, something more than just makeup. Because it was not just about makeup. It was about, helping, women
Right.
who struggle with whatever it is that they struggle, right? With all those struggles. So that's why
Yeah.
like she inspires me. Like
I
I
love it.
am in this world to also make a difference and to change lives just like she is.
So shout out to Jamie.
Thanks,
And I
Jamie. We
agree.
love you.
Like, holy cow, I loved her so much. But you know what? I think you're right. You are on your path, right? Like, you are going to inspire a lot of people. Without a doubt in my mind, I know that to be true. And I think it's crazy because crazy is not the right word, right? But after learning a little bit more about your upbringing and what you've already overcome and accomplished, it's crazy. Like, honestly, when you tell this story, I guarantee it's gonna ring true with at least one person who's listening to this, right? So, Nancy, if you could, why don't you break down your background, your upbringing, and carry us into where you are today?
Yeah. So I am a first generation, right? First gen here. My mom came here to the United States many years ago. She came here illegally, right?
From Mexico, right?
From Mexico, yes. She came from
Okay.
Mexico. So I am Mexican American. And, it was very rough growing up, um, coming from a parent who's here illegally, who doesn't speak the language. I love my mom. I'm super proud of her because, I mean, just leaving your country and coming to another country by yourself, that's freaking amazing. but she stayed there, right? She just stayed there. She really didn't move forward. She really didn't do more. She didn't take full advantage of the opportunity. But I mean, thanks to her, I was born here, right? But
Yeah.
we did grow up uh, poor, right? Very low income class. I never had a father figure in my life. At one point in my life as well, my mom wasn't here. You know, she got in trouble, things happened, she wasn't here
Yeah.
anymore. So she had to leave. And so there was a point in my life, I think I was 10 years old, that I didn't have a father, I didn't have a mother either, right? So at that point I had to grow up, Trae. Like I couldn't be a child anymore. I had to take care of my sister and my brother. I do have an older brother. He is 9 years older than I am. So he was already 18, 19 years old. And I mean, I understand at that age, you're not gonna want to take care of, your three younger siblings. So I
Right.
understand. He moved on with his life. He was already pretty much an adult. At 18, 19, you're an adult. So then it was just me left to pretty much take care of my brother and my sister, my younger brother, younger sister.
Where were
And
you guys staying at the time?
we stayed with my sister's grandma for a little bit. My sister has a different father than I do. And then we moved on with my aunt. And when we moved with my aunt, I mean, she had her family. She had married with my uncle, and my uncle had his 4 kids, and she had her 4 kids from previous marriage. And then they had a child together. So that's like 9 children. And then
That's nine kids.
you had my sister, you had my brother, you had me. That's 12. And then we had another aunt. Hold on, I'm not done. We had another aunt that lived with us, and she had her daughter as well. So that's what it were 13 kids plus the adults, and we're living in a 2 bedroom, 1 bath home.
Okay, hold on. So that's
I
17
know.
people in a 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom house.
Yeah, yeah.
What, Nancy, what was that like? I can't even imagine. Oh my gosh. What was that like?
It was I mean, I like that, my cousins are there. We're all growing together, but we did have to do a lot of sharing of everything. 1 bedroom, there's like bunk beds, bunk beds, bunk bed, bunk beds, another bed, another bed. Some of my older cousins would have to sleep in the living room, and just sharing everything and just supporting each other and being there for each other, right?
Yeah.
It was nice to grow up with them, um, but yeah, it was challenging as well. It was
And
challenging.
at that age too, right? Like looking back, it's probably your thoughts on the situation were probably a lot different than when you were 10 years old or 11 years old or 12 years old living through it. So, what happened with your cousins? What are they doing now?
Um, they're not really doing much with their life, unfortunately, right? They're still just working at W-2, and they got married, they have their kids, but really doing something to change, our life, to change our the way our family has been through generations. They're not really doing much of that. Some of them have been getting in trouble, right? Ended up on the wrong pathways, unfortunately. But yeah, I think I am the only one right now that is actually trying, not trying, but is actually doing something to change
How
our
does
history
how
and the way
does
we grew up.
Yeah, but how does that happen, Nancy? Right? Like there was 13 kids, and out of that 13, you were the only one who is making something of their life. And not to speak down on your cousins at all, right? Like being married, having a W-2, right? Like as long as you're providing for your family in my books, you're doing great. But you know that you're destined for more, right? So where did that mindset like how was that born out of a 2 bedroom, 1 bath, with 17 people, that situation? Hey guys, my company, Paige Capital Group, is actively sourcing and buying multifamily deals. If you're looking to put your money to work, gain some tax efficiencies, and grow your portfolio while we do all the heavy lifting, go to pagecapitalgroup.com/invest. That's Paige, Paige, capitalgroup.com/invest, and someone from our team will reach out. Now, back to the show.
Yeah. Um, I just saw Trae, like just first of all, having to mature and be like, okay, now I'm responsible, right? I'm responsible for my brother and for my sister, right? And then that responsibility didn't stay there. It's like I'm responsible for my cousins too, right? And even for like my aunt that we were living with, right? Like there was a lot of things that I was helping her with the translation, with like documentation, with like a lot of things, a lot of adult things that I got stuck doing because I was always really smart. Like I always did well in school. I didn't need someone to tell me to do this to make sure that I get good grades. Like it was just me, right? Like just me doing it. Thank God that I was, blessed with a bright mind. And so my aunt depended on me a lot. So I was always doing adult stuff, even at a young age, right? So I think just that having to have that responsibility of my brother and my sister, my cousins, my aunts, helping them, that just it just ingrained in me, and that just shaped the way that I was. And I saw everything that I didn't want to be, right?
Yeah.
I didn't want my future children, or my cousin's future children, my nieces, my nephews, to grow up that way. It was
Right.
challenging, right? At one point, sometimes we didn't have um, enough food. Sometimes we didn't have like hot water. We would have to take cold showers even in the winters. The winters don't get that cold here, but we're not used to it. So sometimes we just didn't have things, and I knew that I did not want to grow up like that. I wanted to do more. I wanted to be able to help them, my whole family, right? And it's just not my family here, it's my family in Mexico as well. Just be able to help them and provide for them. And God gave
Yeah.
me the brains, right? He gave me the brains. I'm going to say that I'm pretty smart. I'm a pretty smart woman. So I'm making use of that.
Yeah. You are very smart, Nancy. I think everybody that, has a conversation with you knows that. So, and just the fact that you overcame so much. And I guarantee you, most people who know Nancy probably don't know where you come from and might be shocked to hear, what you made it out of. So, congratulations to you. I'm curious, where's your mom now? How's she doing?
Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't talk about it a lot because it's hard. Um,
Yeah.
this is just like a overview, right? It's just a little quick, but there was a lot of things that happened in between, right? A lot of challenges, a lot of trauma, a lot of abuse that just, all that just shaped me like, okay, we need to move on. We need to do something to be better. My mom is doing great. I love her, and she's here home with me. My mom lives with us, with Abraham and I. I
Yes.
love her. I told her like like I'm going to take care of you. Like we don't have to worry about renting. I'm your daughter. I'm here to provide for you. So she's here. She doesn't work. She's enjoying her life. She she's
That's so
good.
awesome.
Mhm.
That's so good. Speaking of Abraham, like thank goodness that he pulled up and saved you from that. I'm just kidding.
She did.
If you inside joke, if you ask Abraham, Abraham saved Nancy from her situation. He
He
was
saved me. Hmm.
he pulled up in his white Lexus.
Yeah. He pulled me out from the ghetto, according to him.
So, Nancy, I think it's really important to kind of like touch on your upbringing because what it does is make the next phase. I don't know if it's the next phase, but one of the phases of your life even more impressive. Let's talk about how you were a travel nurse and what that experience was like, and how much money you were making.
Yes. So you know how Abraham saved me, right? From the
Out the hood,
ghetto.
he got you.
Yeah. He also saved me from being a staff nurse. So I had been a staff nurse. I've been a nurse for 12 years. I believe I'm gonna go on 13 years already soon. So I've been a nurse for that long. And I had been a staff nurse for maybe 6 years already, and just working the same unit with the same people for the most part.
What's a staff nurse?
A staff nurse is an employee, full-time employee of the hospital, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Okay.
that's what it is. So that's what I was forever and ever. And then the last year before I started traveling, I transitioned over to the step down unit. So it's a unit under ICU. It's ICU and PCU. So I was doing there, and that's where Abraham and I started to connect a lot more and, get to know each other. One thing led to another. And he wanted to do travel nursing. So we were only dating for a couple of months before we started traveling together. And it was
Wow.
like, yeah, yeah. So he was like,
Wow.
do you want to come travel with me or you want to stay? I didn't want to stay behind. So he pretty much saved me from being a staff nurse and we started traveling.
That's just so how does that work, right? When you're traveling, do you just like go to a website and look for contracts and just go live there for a month or two or
So there's definitely websites, right? There's different agencies. There's hundreds of agencies, travel nursing agencies that staff the hospitals. They have the contracts with the hospitals. Then they, make the relationship with us, get our portfolio. Oh my God, our profile going, and then they submit us and send us to different hospitals, right? I love from travel nursing that we get the flexibility to decide where we want to go. We have a Texas nursing license, which is a compact nursing license, so we get to go to 38 states. We
oh
don't have
wow.
to we don't have to apply for a license for each state for the most
Nice.
part. There are some states like California. We did need to apply for a California nursing license, but it's not a difficult process. So we get to decide where we want to go. We just have to do our profile with the agency and submit all our documentations, our certifications, our nursing licenses, do some exams just to test our competency, make sure that we know what we're doing,
Right.
do a skills checklist. We have to get our vaccines. They send us for a physical, they send us for a urine drug screen. It's a
Wow.
process. It's a process. But,
Yeah.
after doing it for over 5 years, we've already have it. Like, we already know exactly what it is that we
Wow.
need to do
You did it for
because
5
it's
years?
repetitive. Yeah, over 5 years. We traveled for over 5 years.
Holy cow. So how did you like right, when you were starting like living, so you're bouncing around, how do you handle where you lay your head at night?
We the first the assignments are usually the contracts are usually anywhere from it could be as low as 4 weeks all the way up to like 26 weeks. We started doing 13 weeks, which is like 3 months. For the very first assignment, because we were so green and we didn't know any better, we just let the agency place us. So they have contracts with different either apartment complexes or with extended stays, and they just place us there, right? So they place us at that apartment complex, but then they take our stipend. So we get a stipend. When we're travel nurses, we get a stipend for our meals per day, and then we get a stipend for our housing as well. And that's tax-free money. So that's how we were able to like save more money and make money out of traveling because that's like a good amount. More than half maybe of the money that we get paid as a travel nurse is a stipend and it's tax-free.
Wow,
Yes.
I did not know
Mhm.
that. Holy
Yeah.
cow. Okay. When did you guys
So
get the fifth wheel or was yeah, the fifth wheel, right?
we have a travel trailer. So after the first 13 weeks, we were in our first assignment was in St. Louis, Missouri, and we were staying downtown. There was an RV park like right across, like we could see it from the window, and
Wow.
that's where Abraham got the idea. I'm like, well, maybe we should do just a travel trailer, stay at an RV park. So he started
Right.
like he took those 3 months to do all the research, which one would be the best, travel trailer, what size, what do we need? We have a truck already, but like, how much can we pull and everything else that goes, right? Like the hoses, the connections, the black tag, the gray tag, yeah, all these things.
Yeah.
He took all that time to learn all of that. And then we pulled the trigger. As soon as our 13 weeks were off, we extended. So we did sign up for another 13 weeks at the same hospital because it was such a huge hospital. They needed a lot of help. We extended, but we told them, like, we're not going to take your housing anymore. Now we're going to take the stipend. I think
Interesting.
the RV park maybe was like $300 a month and
Oh
our
wow.
stipend was a lot more. So like they were really charging us a lot to stay in that apartment complex. It was a beautiful loft. It was a beautiful loft, but the bed sucked. It was horrible. My back hurt. And then we were working night shift, and this loft has had the biggest windows, so there was like so much light in. So
Ooh,
it was very
yeah.
difficult. We got our travel trailers there in Missouri, close by. It was not in St. Louis. It was maybe like an hour away, but we did a really long trip because we needed to get the insurance and we needed to get it inspected. But the bank that we used, since it was a bank, our federal credit union here back home, they wanted us to get it inspected here in Texas. So we had to drive from Missouri all the way over here
Oh
and
my
then
gosh.
come get it inspected and then drive all the way back because we were still going to work. That was a really long day. I think I went like 48 hours without sleeping because I had to
48
work the
hours.
night before. Yeah. But
That's a lot.
it's
That's a
been
lot.
great. It's been great. Now, like, it was the best decision. And it was the best
Yeah.
decision to get
You
our
guys still
travel
have it?
trailer. We still have it. Yes.
Heck yeah. What
Hmm.
okay, so I don't know how much you want to share, but like travel nurses, people say make a lot of money, right? So how
Hmm.
much were you guys making as travel nurses?
So before COVID, we pretty much doubled our income. Like we doubled our income. As a staff nurse, we get paid every 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, I was getting paid about $3,100 back home here.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then when we started doing the travel nursing, I was getting about 2,200 a week.
It's not bad at all.
That was before COVID. And then COVID hit, and that oh my God, that like 10x our income
Yeah.
when COVID hit. Yeah.
Are nurses paid enough?
No, nurses are not paid enough.
So what did the nurses, like the staff nurses at the locations you were working at, think of the travel nurses?
Some of them are very grateful, that nurses are coming in to help. Some of them are very salty that we are getting paid more than they are, which I understand, right?
Right.
But at the end of the day, hey, you can go travel as well if you want to. Don't be salty. Like, don't hate me
So true.
later,
They hate
right?
the game.
Yeah.
That's right.
So,
that's
I
that's
mean, I'm sacrificing myself. I'm leaving the comfort of my home, right? And missing out on birthdays, missing out on holidays, just, away. So there's sacrifices to be made. Not everybody's willing to do that sacrifice. So then
that's
don't
true.
complain. Don't complain.
You get paid a premium for making the. I mean, I couldn't do it, so good on you.
Yeah.
So you're making all this money, right? I'm curious what you did with it compared to what other nurses do with their money, right? Because in the multifamily space, you guys are kind of targeting nurses and helping them with, bring that financial goals closer, right? So I'm just curious how that has shaped your outlook and how you are trying to help shape other nurses' outlook when it comes to living financially free.
Yes. So before COVID, right? I'm just going to focus on this really quick. So before
Okay.
COVID, 2,200, maybe 2,500 a week. Abraham and I had a goal. We wanted to save $100,000 a year. That was our goal when we started. We were always, strategizing or planning ahead because we always knew that we wanted to get to 100 doors. Our goal was to own 100 doors. Abraham was already doing a little bit of real estate with his mom and his brother, right? He brought me in. I was like, yes, I want to do this, right? I didn't know anything before about uh, buying assets. I had no idea what an asset was. So Abraham, he started to educate me on that. And that's how I started to learn about this. And I was like, oh shit, like this is what I want to do.
Oh,
So
yeah.
our goal was to save $100,000 so we can come home and buy something, right? Real estate, single family home, a duplex, whatever. But that's what we were going to keep doing. Like every year, save $100,000 between the two of us. And then COVID hit, and COVID, like I'm telling you, COVID 10x our income. We were getting paid a lot of money a week, like so much money that it's crazy. Like I it's like surreal. Like, wow, I was making that much money. Like,
Yeah.
wow, like shitloads of money. I don't know if you want me to tell you.
Do you want? I mean, it's up to you. Do you want? Do you want to tell people how much you're making?
I'm even embarrassed to say it, but because it's a lot of money. But we were making between the two of us $20,000 a week.
A week.
A week,
A
20,000.
week.
Yeah, I'm telling you, our income 10x.
That's
We were
insane.
making $20,000 a week. So, man, that was like 5 years, right? We scaled ahead 5 years with this income, and a lot of nurses did. A lot of nurses took advantage of this. A lot of the staff nurses started doing travel nursing, right? To make all this money, big bucks. And a lot of the nurses, what they also did, instead of making this money work for them, they spent it. They went on vacation, or they purchased a vehicle, or they purchased designer purses, or whatever, right? Like, the money is not there anymore. So that's pretty sad to me. Like, you could have done
Yeah.
like so much more. You could have used this money to your advantage and invested and start building that little snowball that eventually will create some generational wealth. But instead, it was money spent, which, I mean, I understand, right? If you don't have the education, if you don't have, the circle of friends, if you're not hanging out with, if you're not with those people that have that mentality, well, you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. I didn't know
Right.
before. It
Right.
wasn't until Abraham came into my life, right? And after we joined the mentorship program and we joined other mentorship programs, that's when I started to change my mindset and start thinking bigger, right? So what we did with our money, we came back home, purchased. It was a children's daycare. It was a children's daycare, and we turned it, we repositioned it, and made it into 6 units. So that's what we did with our money,
Say that
the
one more
cash.
time. You purchased a daycare
It
and
was the
turned it
children's.
into 6 apartments.
Yes,
Wow.
that's
I
what we
mean,
did.
big ups to you guys for even having that vision. Like, that's crazy cool. Wow. Do you guys still own it?
We still own it. Yes,
Nice, nice, nice.
we still.
Okay, so you bought the daycare / 6 unit apartment. Then what?
Well, we repositioned that, and then that's when we came across and we joined the mentorship program
Okay.
called the Multifamily Mindset. And from there, we kind of pivoted on our strategy, because our strategy was just to do the small single family, small multifamily, and keep growing, keep multiplying that every year. But when we joined this mentorship program, Multifamily Mindset, we kind of switched our strategy, and we found a way that we could scale our portfolio faster, I would say.
Yeah. So you went from 6 units to what is included in your portfolio now.
Now we have three different apartment complexes that we have partnered with. We have a 96 unit in Lubbock, Texas,
Nice.
64 units in Louisville, Kentucky, and
Okay.
63 units in Dallas, Texas.
I feel like I need to get air horns because there's been a lot of moments in this conversation that like deserved air horns. Like, brr, 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 brr. Like, yeah, that's
You
dope.
can add them.
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna add that in edit. Hopefully, if I can figure it out. That's dope, man. Congratulations, congratulations. I mean, honestly, again, from the beginning of our story, from your story, right? You are 17 deep in a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house to $20K a week to a daycare turned into 6 apartment complex to a partner on 3 separate apartment complexes. I mean, shit, man, that is a hell of a story. Like, congratulations, Nancy. I'm very happy to know you.
Thank you, Trae.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's so awesome. That's so awesome. Well, let's talk about those deals. How are they going? Real quick, guys, if you're enjoying the show and want to help us grow, share, shoot us a 5-star rating, and follow the show on Apple or Spotify. My goal is to continue to grow and get bigger and bigger guests on the show to reach more like-minded real estate investors and help everyone be more bold and build more wealth. Now, back to the show.
Um, Our Dallas deal is doing amazing, phenomenal.
Nice.
No issues, no complaints there. It's great. The team, I love that the team, most of the team, right, except Abraham and I, they're there. They're local in Dallas.
Yeah.
So boots in the ground every day at the property. We are having some challenges maybe with the property management company. That's something that's like pretty much out of our control, right? But other than that, we're meeting our projections. We're definitely increasing rents the way that we project that we would. We're meeting and exceeding those numbers.
That's
So
great.
it's phenomenal, like really phenomenal, really great property. We love it. Like it was like a home run. It's a home run. We are having a little bit of issues with the property management company, but the team is ready to vertically integrate. So that's just going to make everything so much better.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
So that
So
that
you,
that's amazing. Our Dallas deal is
yeah.
amazing.
I mean, shout out to Sergio and the boys. I know that's what Sergio, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. I like him.
He is
So
really cool, hardworking man,
yeah,
and
he
go
lives in
getter.
a trailer too, I think.
Yes, yes, yes. I have to
So
bond with him over that.
yeah,
But yeah, he does. Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I've gone to a few of their events here in Dallas, and yeah, they're a good group. I like them. So I'm glad to hear that that deal is doing very well. How are the other two deals going?
Our Lubbock property is doing well as well. Again, the property management company, we're having a little bit of issues, with the expenses. They are going over budget. But other than that, the occupancy is doing really well. We are hitting the projected rents as well, increasing the rents. We're creating a really good community there for that apartment complex as well. We have events, for
Oh, nice.
Christmas, for Thanksgiving, for
Yeah.
Halloween, for Valentine's. So I really love that, right? Impacting that community and changing, you know, just the culture there within the apartment complex. That's amazing and it's beautiful. So that's going very, very well. Again, it's just the property management, keeping, the expenses where they should be at. That's one of
Let's
the
talk about
issues
that,
there.
right? I mean, you the Dallas property and this property, they're both having issues with property management. I'm curious, like, what have you learned having to work through these issues with property management?
Oh, yeah, I've learned so much about property management company. Um, yes, it's important to have a good property management company that has the track record, that has the experience, that they're in that market as well, and
Yeah.
that they're very well known. But then at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter what the record is, because it all boils down to that one person, right? To either the regional or the person that's on site as well. And I'll tell you a little bit more about our on site. We haven't gotten to our Louisville property. That's a little bit of our problem child, but it just goes down to that. Because for example, for the Dallas property, this property management company, my partners, right, they have used this property management company in another property there in the Dallas area as well, but it's a different regional and it's a different on-site, right? So then they're
Hmm.
not having the issues that we are having with the communication and the reporting and all that, right, with the expenses. So it just goes down to that. And the group has been really good about communicating and setting deadlines and requesting, documentation and expenses and all those things.
When you
And
say
they've been
the
really good.
when you say the
The,
group, are you talking about the GP team or the
yes,
property management? The
no,
GP.
the
Okay.
GP team. Yeah, we've been
Gotcha.
good about asking them and asking and making sure that, hey, we need to stay on track. Hey, we need to do it by this date. Like everything needs to be reporting in a timely manner. But we just haven't been successful in getting them to actually do that. The GP team has had two different meetings with the owner of the property management company, and they're like, yes, okay, sorry, right? They apologize, but then it still doesn't get done. So that's difficult, Trae. Like that's difficult. Not That's something that's out of our control. We as
Right.
partners, we are doing our part. We're under under access, asking and demanding and requesting and setting deadlines. But at the end of the day, we can't. It's out of our control. We can't do anything more. So that's why we're pivoting now to doing a vertical integration for this Dallas property.
Yeah.
For the Lubbock, I don't. It's not an option, right, to vertically integrate because the team that I'm working with, they don't have that, right? The Dallas team, they do have that. They've already vertically integrated in other properties, but with this team, because it's a different team that I partnered with, they don't. So we are in the process of looking for another property management company and just having that conversation and making sure that the goals align and this is what we want. And are you going to be able to provide this or do this, meet the expectations for us? So
What are I mean, high level, what are some of the expectations of good property management?
just making sure, hey, that there is clear, concise, transparent communication, right, between the GP team, the asset management team, and the property management team. That it's done on a timely basis as well, right? Like you can't
Right.
be reporting the let's say the payroll right a month later. Like, hey, we need to be up to date, kind of thing,
Right.
right? And
Right.
if we are saying we're asking you that we want to say the expenses to be below 50%, you have to stay at below 50%, right? Like you can't be going 52%, 53% because that 2%, that 3% affects the overall net operating income as well,
Yeah,
right? So
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's talk about your problem child in Louisville. That was a
Louisville,
64 Louisville.
64,
How do you say it?
Louisville,
Louisville.
Louisville. I spent a full month there, so I know
Yeah.
exactly how to pronounce it. I've met some travel nurses, right, and that are from Louisville, and I'm like, "Oh, you're from Louisville." They're like, "Oh, how do you know? How are you pronouncing it correctly, you Mexican
Uh,
nurse?" Right? But yeah, I spent a full month there, so that's why I know how to pronounce it. Yeah, it goes back to property management training.
really, this is the property management is that important. Wow.
Very important. So property management, and I am also going to add boots on the ground,
Yeah. Having
very
somebody
important.
there.
Boots on the ground, having somebody there. That's one of the things that with this team, we don't have somebody in Louisville. One of our partners, she does have another property there in Louisville, close by, but still, there's not really boots on the ground for
Right.
this property. So that really hurt us, right? Hurt our whole business plan because we're depending on the property management company to actually be honest with us, to actually report to us, to actually, just communicate with us everything that's going on. And at the end of the day, the property management company that we had was not doing that. They were lying about different things that there was no way we would have known if none of us ever showed up to the property. We would have never known, right? So Abraham and I, at that point, we were in West Virginia. West Virginia was a 6-hour drive to Louisville, but we wanted to be present. We knew there was not really boots on the ground, so we're like, we can be the boots on the ground, right? So we would take one of our days off and drive to Louisville, spend the night there, and then drive back. And we started noticing things, right? The property's not being taken care of. There's a lot of trash, a lot of dumping that is not being reported to us, just little things, right? It got to a point where we were like really concerned about the way the property looked, just like the grounds, the outside, and asking some questions to the residents, right, that were outside, like how is everything going? Like, are you guys having any issues? just asking here and there, we started to realize that there was a lot more going on that we were not aware of. So Abraham and I had decided to relocate to Louisville and stay there in Louisville until we could take care of the problem, pretty much, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of things were going on, Trae. The property
So
management company was not telling us.
yeah, I mean that makes sense, right? Like if you're not there, why? Man, it's just integrity, lack of integrity. I'm curious though, like what questions could you have asked on the front end before hiring this property manager to know or have an idea of what that relationship would be like, right? Like, is there anything you could have done?
Honestly, it's very difficult because they know exactly what to answer, right? Like I could be interviewing for a job right now. I know
Mm,
exactly what I have to say to get that job, even as
right,
a nurse, right? So it's just very difficult, like right off the back, to find out whether it's a good fit or it's not a good fit. Because when you ask and what you ask, they know what you want to hear for the most part, right? So
right.
they're gonna tell you what you want to hear. It like I do it when I interview. The few times that I had to interview for a travel contract, which was maybe just twice, I knew exactly what I had to say. I'm a team player. I'm not saying I'm not a team player, right? But that's what they want to hear. I am a
Right.
team player. I'm always on time. I've been late before, so but I know that they want to hear that we're always going to be on time. We're a team player. We're flexible, right? We don't mind doing this, doing that. We don't mind floating. All the things that they want to hear, right? So
Right.
it's hard. It's really really hard to actually find a, or figure out whether this is going to be a good match or not. But I mean, there are questions to ask, right? Like, how many properties do you have in the area, right? Like, how many properties are you managing? Like properties, right? If this is a B class property, how many B class properties are you managing? Because they might be
Yeah.
managing C or D properties, and that's a complete different story than managing a B and an A property, right? Because you don't really need to do a lot,
Yeah.
C and Ds, right? So just, what is your
Nice.
track record here in this specific market? What is your track record with this specific type of property? Because this property is 100% light tech, and then it's a Section 8 property as well.
Oh no. I mean, not oh no, but like those light tech and the
Oh, no.
paperwork involved with that, like you have to
Yes.
have a very specific type of property management. So it makes your pool so much more. So if you're like light tech, right? Low income housing tax credit,
Tax
right?
credit.
So there's just paperwork, just a bunch
Yeah.
of paperwork required. So,
So
would
even
you,
since the beginning, we were like limited because, the property management company needed to be light tech certified, needed
right.
to know Section 8. So we were limited in which, and then it's only 64 units. So that kind of made it difficult as well because
Right.
it's either I want 100 units and up, or we're only doing, smaller properties kind of thing. So this property was kind of in between, cut in the
Yeah.
middle, that and light tech and Section 8. So it was difficult. It's difficult. Even right
Would
now,
you, would you do it again?
I I would do it again in if I could vertically integrate, right? I will do it
Fair.
again like that because
Yeah.
it's very rewarding to be able to help the residents that live in that type of community. Like Abraham and I picked up trash at that property, right? And we're picking up trash in the property. And to have the little kids there come up and say, "Thank you so much for picking up the trash. Thank you so much for helping us, make our home nice looking." Like little kids, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds that are just outside playing. There's all this trash there, but here we are, Abraham and I, picking up trash. And to have them come and be grateful and thank you, like that just fills my heart. So I wouldn't shy away from another property like this, um, because I know the kind of impact that we can make. We improved their homes, right? Like when we were there and we turned some units, the units that we turned, they were beautiful. You should have seen the units how they were before and how they turned after we did the whole flooring and
Right.
painting and just adding little things and changing little things. And it was nothing that is super high end, right? Nothing that was crazy because it needs to make sense with the numbers, right? With the budget.
Right.
But it still turned out beautiful, right? Because you have people there that are actually caring and that are actually wanting to make a difference for them.
I love it. It helped with the sense of pride and community, which a lot of people in that income range may be lacking. I only say that because I live in the hood and I see it everywhere. The hoods of Dallas, man, the mean streets of Dallas. Well, Nancy, I think this was an awesome episode. I mean, just your story alone, right? Like, I cannot wait to see you tell that story on stages as you continue to grow into the person that so many people probably need, just like you need Jamie. Not need, but appreciate
I need
Jamie.
her. I need her.
She gave me a hug. She did.
She
I was so
did.
happy. I DM'd her too, and I was like, "P.S. Say hi to my friend Nancy." She didn't respond, but I tried try to shout you out.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Nancy, wrapping this up, again, your story, crazy story, crazy good story. What is the biggest takeaway or lesson learned or just anything that somebody listening can apply to their own life that you have? What would you give them?
Be authentic. Be yourself. Don't give up. Put in the work and have faith. Like, have faith. All this, my story, it was always God guiding me, right? I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. So just stay focused, stay in prayer, and have faith, and you will be successful.
I love
Believe
it.
it.
That's right. What is it? Absolute certainty. Absolute certainty. Awesome. Well, Nancy, where can the people find you? If anybody wants to reach out to you, where can they find you and what should they reach out to you for?
You can find me on Instagram. I'm most active on Instagram at Nancy_MFRN Capital. You can also visit my website, mfrncapital.com. And you can reach out to me for anything, whatever. I'm here to help. If you need a little bit of motivation, if you want to know more about my journey and how I've overcome a lot of challenges, if you want to, need a little bit of help on believing in yourself and working on your confidence, that's something that I've been working on. This is not me. I couldn't have done this a year ago, 2 years ago, right? I'm a work in progress, but I'm doing it and I'm here to help you and empower you and guide you, pray for you, sing with you, cheer you on. I will be your biggest cheerleader. And yeah, whatever it is, I'm here. Nursing,
Awesome.
real estate, faith, anything.
Everything. All the things.
Mm-hmm.
My last word, shout out to Abraham for saving you. There's a real one for
Yes.
that. No, just kidding. Oh boy.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Abraham.
guys. Thank you, Abraham. Listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Trae Jacobs. This is Nancy Reyna. I'll see you guys next week. We out. Peace.
Peace.